Jordan and Egypt snub Trump's ethnic cleansing plan. Notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. Both Jordan and Egypt have put out statements rejecting President Trump's proposal to clean out Gaza and move its population to those nations. Our principles are clear, and Jordan's steadfast position to uphold the Palestinians' presence on their land remains unchanged and will never change, Jordan's Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi told the press on Sunday. Similarly, the Egyptian Foreign Ministry affirmed Egypt's continued support for the resilience of the Palestinian people on their land and their commitment to their legitimate rights in their homeland, in accordance with international law and international humanitarian law. It still remains to be seen if the Trump administration will find a way to bribe or coerce either or both nations to comply with Trump's ethnic cleansing agenda. But the fact that they aren't already on board means the empire needs to jump through some significant hoops before this could happen. In response to my write-up about Trump's plans to purge Gaza of Palestinians, I've been getting a nice eclectic mix of American rightists telling me, "Stop calling it ethnic cleansing. Trump's just trying to rescue those people from a destroyed Gaza," and Israeli rightists going, "Haha, yes, Trump will help us ethnically cleanse the terrorists and their spawn." Trump supporters are such shit-brained, knuckle-dragging bootlickers. They're all up in my social media replies going, "Well, what do you expect Trump to do? What other possible solution is there but to empty out the population of Gaza to neighboring Arab countries?" And of course, the obvious humanitarian solution is a heroic multinational push to rush massive amounts of aid to Gaza while rebuilding it at the expense of the states who destroyed it. But nope, they can't even entertain that possibility. Only possible solution is to bend over backwards to give Israel the exact thing it's desired from Gaza for many years, which will just coincidentally happen to delight Trump's Zionist megadonors. Worthless human livestock. Trump supporters claim to oppose wars and despise neocons, but are always consistently paced into supporting all the worst agendas of the nastiest swamp monsters in Washington. Trump supporters are George W. Bush supporters LARPing as Ron Paul supporters. The electronic intifada's Ali Abunimah is free after days of imprisonment by Swiss authorities for expressing wrongthink about Israel. When these things happen, it's important to ensure that we make it cost them more than it benefits them. Make sure it damages Zionist PR interests more than it protects those PR interests from damage. Use their iron-fisted authoritarian crackdowns to help show the world how much tyranny and abuse is necessary to uphold a status quo which has no basis in fact or morality. If Israel and its Western backers were standing on the side of truth and justice, they wouldn't be persecuting journalists for sharing inconvenient ideas and information. Every time they do so, it should be brightly spotlighted and loudly amplified to draw attention to the very tyrannical power structure whose public image they are trying to protect. Anytime they forcefully silence efforts to draw attention to their tyranny, make sure it draws more attention to their tyranny. Anytime they assault freedoms of assembly and the press to gain a yard, make sure it costs them 10. By doing this, at the very least, we can help change the cost-to-benefit analysis of our rulers when calculating whether such authoritarian measures are worthwhile. And at most, we harness their force and use it directly against them to weaken them in ways we never could without their help. If you've been ignoring or defending Biden's genocidal criminality these last 15 months, then I don't really care what you have to say about Trump or Musk or any of his cohorts. Your criticisms might be 100% accurate, but they're not coming from a place of truth. If you moved seamlessly from aggressively attacking Biden's abuses to aggressively attacking Trump's, then you have my attention, because I know your criticisms are coming from actual principles and not blind opposition to an opposing political faction. You are standing against tyranny instead of standing with one of America's two tyrannical parties. It should deeply disturb us that there is no difference in worldview between the political class and the media class. Ever think about how weird and freakish that is? Western pundits and reporters all have the exact same models for looking at the world as Western politicians and government officials have. They break down ideologically along exactly the same narrow, progressive-ish versus conservative-ish spectrum of debate. They all agree on who the good guys and bad guys are on the world stage. They all subscribe to the same perspectives on how electoral politics work, how their government works, how the economy works, and how power works. They don't agree on every issue, but they all share the exact same conceptual frameworks for understanding the world which form the basis for their agreements and disagreements. This is one of the things that makes Western propaganda so effective. The fact that there is no discrepancy at all between the way our governments describe the way the world works and the way the most prominent journalists, analysts, and pundits do. They never make any mention of the fact that we're all being psychologically hammered with mass-scale propaganda every day to manipulate the way we think, speak, vote, and work. They ignore the fact that our elections are fake and everything we were taught in school about our government is a lie. They deny the self-evident reality that the U.S. centralized empire is by far the most murderous and tyrannical force on this planet and is the source of most of the world's problems. They all pretend capitalism is working fine, and we will surely figure out how to consume our way out of our soaring injustices and looming ecological collapse any minute now. They all completely redact from their worldview the inconvenient truth that we are ruled by sociopathic plutocrats who are driving us to our doom. The fact that government and political bodies omit from their perspective all the same information that pundits and reporters do means power never gets held to account by the press, because they're all viewing the actions of the powerful through the same fraudulent reality tunnel. This creates giant dark spots on the field of information in which immense depravities can hide, thereby allowing a gravely disordered status quo to continue uncontested by the news-consuming public.